All right, guys. So let's look at the remaining part of this project. We're gonna do few things, right? What we're gonna do is let's look at here. Step one, we're gonna add the post, right? So this is my last post. So from this text box, we're gonna read the text, right? That is one thing. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Also, we're gonna attach the image, right? So you just click on that same process. We just take one image, attach, right? Okay. Then you can put a text here. This is my last post. Please likes and comment, right? And then you're gonna click on the send button. Information is sent to the database and it should update here, right? This is my last post. Please likes and comment, correct? So you can see the post is working, right? That is one thing. You can delete the post also, right here. So see this more in the more button, we're gonna add one component. In that component, you're gonna have like something view, repost, delete, something like that, right? But we're just gonna look at the how to delete it. Okay, we're gonna have the server action function to delete that. So I click this and it deleted, right? Gone. Okay, so I have to click again to on and off. Okay, this is just the on and off. We use state hooks, make it true and false, right, for that UI. So that's what we're gonna look at first. Okay, so need to clear after posting, but it's okay, right? Just for now, you can see how we can post. Then second one is delete. That is what we're gonna look. And the last one, we're gonna add a story, right? So click on this, maybe add one something, select image and send, right? So the new story is created by me, correct? We're just posting the image, nothing else, right? I mean, you cannot see the story, or there is no more functionality. We're just adding story here, right? I mean, simple stuff. Okay, so that's what we're gonna see. Here you have the basically this icon, right? With my, I mean, we can change with the new logo, right? Maybe some symbol, something like that. Plus button is there. Plus, then click on here to upload, right? When you click on here, the Cloudinary widget will load, browse the image, upload, and done, right? Once you upload, you're gonna get the button to save or send. It will be added here. Okay, the new story. So that's what we're gonna look at the last, correct? So let's go for the first one, right? The adding the post. Okay, let's look at that. So in the post, right, if you look at the post, we have the post here. So let's go through the post. Okay, okay, just give me a say. This is the post where we're displaying, right, all the post. The next thing is add post here, right? If we look at our UI in the page here, right, you're gonna see add post and add stories. So we're gonna work with this add post and add story component. So first one is add post, right? So add post here. If you look at, from the UI, if you want, we have input box, the avatar here, input box or text area, then this button, some of the, just the icons here, right? And we attach the Cloudinary widget to this photo. Okay, so let's look at that. So we imported the Cloudinary widget, right? We import that. You can get the use user from the Clerk Next.js, and this is the client component because we need to make a click and upload, right? Update. Okay, so we have to do that. So that's why this is a client component. Now add post function. We can have the, like user is loaded from the use user hook, right? From here you can get the user. You can create use state hook for like saving the image, right? Later. Okay, is loaded, like when you loading, right? When you loading something, then just run this. If this is true, then return loading, else display this part. Okay, now let's look at the design here, right? We have avatar, the first one. Then you have the text area, that is the form, right? You have the form text area. Why we put a form now? The reason adding the form, right? When you click the form, or when you click the send button, right, in the form, action, this function will execute. Okay, here we have callback function, right? This function call our server action function. Okay, the function which will load the data in the database, right? So add post function we're going to look at later, but this function will take the form data, that is basically whatever you put in the input field, right, in the text area, that will be inside this form data, and your image. Okay, so you store the image inside this image URL, right? Inside this image variable. Okay, img, you're gonna get secure URL. Okay, so this image, you set this image right inside the Cloudinary here. Set image to result info, right? That will basically set the image URL inside this variable. Okay, and from there we're gonna send it to our add post function. Fine, so that is all we have here, right? Then you have emoji, add button, right? We call the add button. I mean, you can see the add button here, right? Let's go back. You can see this, this send button, right? That's the button. Basically, here is the upload of image. When you click the, remember all these things are the post options, right? And there is cloud upload widget, then there are video, poll, event, whatever you see here. Okay, these are the icons. Only the photo has the widget attached. So we know how to use the widget, right? You have the upload preset, that is a social unsuccess result, and then in the callback function, right, result, and you get a widget. Set image, see when it's success, right, you're gonna get that result back from the after uploading. Okay, unsuccess, and from that one you're gonna extract the info, right, and stored in the variable set image here in our use state hook here. Okay, just store in that one so we can use later, right, while sending data to our database, or we can call it server action function. Okay, so done. I mean, all these things have nothing to do, right? And there is just a placeholder. Finish. So let's look at this add post button, right? Add post button here. This button is importing basically use form state. This is the React DOM hooks, and these hooks will give you the pending variable, right? Pending, so if this pending is true, then make it disable. The button is disabled, right? Basically, when this is true, then make it disable. When this is true, then just run this component from the Tailwind CSS, right? The like some kind of a icon, right? Like a loading icon, adding post, something like that. And here is the text send. If this is false, then you're gonna see send. If this is true, you're gonna see this component. Okay, like loading component with the hidden button, right? That's what I mean. So that is all this button. So that was about the upload, adding the post. Okay, now the next is deleting, right? How are we going to delete the post? So let's go back and check our delete Basically, let me, okay, sorry guys, I need to talk about the function also, right? So let's go to the action here, and the add post action, right? It will receive the form data and the image, correct, from the add post. If you look at here, not the post, right? Add post. If you look at our form, what is the form here? This one, right? Add post is receiving the form data and the image URL. All right, we have these two things. So if we don't send the image, right, it's gonna send the empty string. So we're gonna check, basically form data get this description, right? Whatever in the form, this form data has description, you can get that by calling form data dot get description, and that is a string. So we have the description inside the form data. You can validate that description, right? So validation description dot save parse this description. Okay, by creating the JOT validation, you can verify that, you know, make sure this is the string and all that, right? If that is success, then console log description is not, if not success, right, then you can make it this text to console log some text and return it. Okay, you can get the user ID from the auth. If no user ID, throw the error, then try catch block start. You can create the post here and send the data to the create, right, function. That will be object, data will be description, user ID and image, right? You can send that. Then revalidate path. That means it will refresh the page, right? So that, you know, that page has loading our post also. It will load the post, updated post. If error, console log error, right? Done. Next one is like a delete, add story. What is the delete post, right? So let me talk about this delete post. This function will be called, you're going to send the post ID here, right? It will also check if the user is there or not, authenticated or not, user ID. If no user, then don't do anything, return error, right? Try catch. If there is user also, then we're going to go this section. You call the post delete and you pass the ID of the post and user ID, right? Just pass that one. So you just want to delete the post related to that user, okay? So you cannot delete other people's posts, right? And that is all. And then revalidate means refresh the page so that other deleted post will be gone. So that's the delete post. Let's look at the component, right? So in the here, right, this is the post info. Okay, this is one of the component, right? You can call inside the basically inside the post, right, later. Okay, we'll check that. So post info component gonna receive the post ID. Okay, it has the open and set open use state hooks. Right now it's false because remember you click that dot, right, and you open something like the box or small like a box, right, with some you know text like view, repost and delete. Okay, so that is all. You know, you're gonna display this more PNG, right, that icons. When you click that icon, then make this open to true, like set open. This will be set this open to true just by making previous opposite, right? Whatever is here, make it opposite of that. False is the first one, then it will make true when you click, right? Again you click, it will become false. Okay, so when that is true, right, then display this part, this form. Okay, I mean basically this div with some text, right, span text, and there is a button inside this form. The reason we put in the form, because when you click that button, right, you want to call your server action function, the delete function, which we just look at here. This function gonna get the delete post with ID, right? I mean yeah, so we just call that function. here we already have the user ID and you just want to delete that user ID. Okay, so delete post with ID, correct? Let's see. So we just gonna call that function here, delete post, right? Let me check it. Delete post with ID, right? Yeah, okay, fine. I mean, this is the action, right? And this function we have here. Okay, even I have looked at so many things, right? Even I start getting like forget, right? Sorry guys, let's continue here. Okay, every time, you know, when we have click event, right, in the form, basically we create our local function here, and inside this function we call our server action, right? So delete post, and that post gonna get, you know, like you can send something, whatever you can send, right? Null, and then we just send the post ID, correct? Bind post ID, right? So if there is post ID, where is the post ID? We receive here, post info, right? So we're gonna call this function basically this component later in our post. Okay, so let's go to the post and try to figure out there. I mean, simply this delete post will take the post ID and run through that and delete our post. That is all it is doing. So let's go to our post and check there, right? So in the post, remember every post has that icon, right? We used to have that icon, more icon button. So let's find that more icon button. Oh, where is that? Oh, sorry, in the post list, right? Where is the post list? We have post list somewhere here. Where is that, guys? Okay, here, right? So if there is user, right? If the user, see, when you delete something, right? We are checking also. I mean, we checked in our server action, okay? Only with the user ID, logged in user ID can delete. But here also in the front end, right? Client side, we can check also. If there is user ID, which is equal to, see the post also have user, right? User ID, okay? So we can compare. If that is same, if that is true, then only call that function, okay? Or component, right? And then you're going to pass that post ID. Post ID we have already here, okay? This post, right? This post has post, you just send the post ID. So whichever, every post has post ID, whichever post you click, that component will be called. It's going to get that ID, and in the server action, you know, it receiving, it already receiving, right? Let's check now the delete, add post, add story, delete here. It's gonna get the post ID. It already have the user ID here, right? We're checking here also, okay? Verifying that user must be logged in to delete the post, and it's gonna delete. So that is all for the delete. If you look at now, right here, I mean, you see now here, you know, delete. When you click that, you know, it will call that component and send the post ID, and it will delete the post, right? And this often is happening because of our use state hook, okay? That is set open and open, right? Open is false, but when you click, that will true. So when it is true, then you're displaying this. When you click again, it become false, it hiding, right? Simple toggling component, okay? The last one is this one, right? Add story. So how are we gonna add a story now? These things. So let's check with our story component. Now go back to the story component. Where is the story component here? So remember, you want to display the story, right? Remember, we displaying the post for the liked, you know, like the followed user. So followers, followed users also, right? So you get the follower ID. Similarly, here also we're going to get the follower ID. If someone we follow, right? And if they have the post, you want to display that. I mean, not post, but the story, then you want to get that also, okay? So from story, what are the things we're going to get? Where, let's add something, expire at, like basically greater time, right? I mean, greater than, something like that. This is the greater than current time date, okay? Like maybe we can expire this in 24 hours, right? Something like that, okay? So let's add that. You don't want the story always available, right? So normally you see something like this. GT 24 hour. I mean, this will give the new time from now, right? Start from now. From the time you create a story, maybe until 24 hours, it will be, this story will be expired, right? So that's what we add. Now you want to include the user, right? Like my story. So I'm the user and maybe the people who I follow, right? So how, I mean, see, we have done something different in other side, right? In this post, where is the post? Oh, where was that, guys? Let me check. I think I did not put, I should have added some, arrange this file properly, right? So that I can find profile card, update, update button, info. No, it should be in the post somewhere, not add post, right? Here in the post, we're displaying all the posts. So, you call post interaction. Are you sending all the information? Okay, let me check the UI first. So I'm displaying, if I go to profile, right, I'm just displaying my, whatever is my post, I'm displaying that. So that's the feed, okay? That's the feed, right? So in the feed, here we're sending all the data, okay? See, this is how we getting the, following ID, right? You get the following, and then where following ID, user ID, and select the following ID to true, so you get the following ID in this way. But the other way we can do, right, same thing, all these things, right, what we have done here, we can do it in little easy way. So let's go and take care of that part. So in the story, right, story here, we add the greater time, right? Like greater time, start from the now. So in the or, right, look at here, this the inside the array we put some information. So here we said in the object, right, this is the object, we said, okay, user, in the, if the user has followers, right, and that followers, inside that followers you're going to find following ID, which is equal to current user ID, right? So we're going to get the current user ID here from the auth, okay? I mean, basically we call current user ID to current user ID, right? You can call it anything. So that is what we get. So if you look at the schema, okay, see they have all related, right? So you can fetch something related to each other in this format, right? Users object gonna get followers, and followers has some, right? Some will give like follower ID, which is equal to current ID. So if I am the follower, right, if related to my ID, you're gonna get all that, okay? Or let's if someone is following me, there will be follower ID. So get all the information for that people, right? That users, and also, you know, user ID, like current user ID, okay? Also the current user ID, right? So, you know, this will be up to here. So this will give all the follower ID, and here will be the current user ID, which is equal to our current user ID, right? This one, okay? And then include the user information also, right? So that's the same thing you're gonna get inside this storage. The Prisma story, let's look at this confusing, right? So let's look at this here. So story, inside story you have the user, you can get all the users, right? So user, make it true, you're gonna get user information, okay? You have expire at date, right? Expire at date, see we have expire at, so that's what we're gonna get. Start from now, right? Expire at, oh, it is that, oh no, story, right? So that will be from now, okay? 24 hour from now, right? Expire at, so just start from now to 24 hour, right? And then that will be expired. So if something is expired, you're not gonna see. Okay, now, right, now just imagine we get all the ID, right? We have ID related to us and the people who follow us, right? You get information here, okay? Their information you get inside this variable. So that variable, that data you pass to our story list component. Remember, in the story we have the, you know, the logo, like icons and all that, right? You're gonna add the widget for loading the image and all that. So we're just gonna go, because there we're gonna have client action, so we keep it separate from the server action, server from server page, right? We keep it separate. So we just create new component, we just have to send the data, right? This story we just fetch, okay? So you're gonna get all the information, user informations, you know, the followers informations, everything inside this stories. If you click here, I mean, you can see now, right? Users is there. I mean, a lot of things you're gonna get, okay? And there is some more inside, right? They are kept inside the array. So we have to validate that. I mean, we have to create the type for that data also. We're gonna check that later. So let's go to this component and try to understand now. So first, this component, story list component, gonna get stories and user ID. That's what we are sending here. Oh, we are sending user ID and the storage. So let me click so that it will not go away. So we have that. We're gonna define the type, right? For that story with users, story, and the user you call, right? Put it together like this, okay? This is the type. Put the type there, that is array, and user ID is just a string, right? Use state hooks, we're gonna create a story list. And I mean, you know, we're gonna just store in the story list here, right? By passing these stories. So now this storage is available inside this variable. We're gonna create the image, right? That is use state. So when you upload image, remember it's same like last post, you know, when you add post, you're gonna have image to create, right? Here you're gonna get the user simply. Now we create one add function, right? When you click on the button, to add the story. So that will be the function like form. You want to call this function. This function gonna do few things. If there is no image, just return it. Okay. If you don't have the image secure URL, then return it, right? Because this must have the image. You upload the image, then only you're gonna create ad. Then we call our optimistic story, right? This function we're gonna call, which is from the use optimistic hook. So let's look at the use optimistic hook here, right? This will get the story list, which we have created on the top in our use state. You know, we have all the stories here. Just pass that one as the first, you know, the, what do you call that? The data, right? The second one is callback function always. So this is the previous data, which is inside here, and the value new data, right? You put together, okay? And whatever now you put together, right? Available inside this optimistic variable. So optimistic stories, okay? So we're going to use that later, right? But now, you know, inside this add optimistic story, you just spread all, I mean, just add all your users information here. You can add the, you know, whatever data you have, just add it here, right? Just add it here. Mostly all is empty for now. So that's good enough. You're gonna send the image also. You just put the image also, right? From, you know, this image URL. So let's look at how we can add the image now, right? In the return part, you're gonna get the cloud upload widget. I mean, you know, like CLD upload widget, right? From the Cloudinary. Same thing, upload preset social on success result, and that result will be return the info, right? Set image to result info. That's why we're getting that, you know, like when you upload image, you're gonna get that URL, public URL, right? To fetch the data, and that URL we uploading to our database. So, you know, I mean, this is whole information, right? Okay, let's continue here. So this is basically uploading the image, okay? Once there is an image URL, right, then only you're gonna display this form where you're gonna add the buttons and call the send, right? Just click on send. It will call this add function. So we have to look at this add function now, right? What are the things happening? In the add function, we check if there is image URL. If no image URL, then return. Then we run this optimistic story function. We add all this information inside, you know. The second is try catch block. In the try block, we're gonna call our add story server action, which is here, add story, right? This will take the image URL, then user ID from the auth. If no user ID, then return, you know, user not authenticated. Then try catch. Then here we gonna store the user ID, right? So there is few things, okay? If the story exists, right? If the you know, like if there is story exists, if existing story, right, then delete that. Else create a new Prisma story, create new one, right? So if let's check here. So existing story that ID, we're just gonna delete that, right? Else we're gonna say create story, await Prisma story that create data. You pass the user ID, image, and expiry at, right? Just put the expiry at, that will be after 20, you know, like 24 hour, right? Okay. So the time will start like, you know, from now until 24 hour, right? And include the user also to true. That's it. I mean, it will gonna create the user. You return that, you know, just return that information, right? So that information is available to our optimistic, this optimistic stories, right? It will be available here. Okay, so create story, await, add story, send the URL, set story list, right? Look at here. So you're gonna get whatever information back from the database will be spread here, and then whatever the previous information inside our hook here, okay, whatever story list we put together, and set image to null, and if there is error, just console log error, right? Updating this means you have current information inside our optimistic stories variable, so you can display that, right? How you are displaying now? If there is optimistic stories, then map through that each story, that is each object, right? And then in the div, basically we are displaying this image. I mean, if there are story avatar, then use that one, right? User.avatar, here we displaying the user who has created the story, right? Their avatar. Then also we should have the story creator name, right? Name or username, you can put that. So I mean, if you look at this is whole display part, okay? So if you go back here, go to our home page, right? And you're gonna see that. So you see that this is add story, and here is the user information, right? Look at this, whatever story we create, okay? So if there is already something, when you create next time, it will delete, right? It will delete. It's gonna delete. I mean, just delete the story, right? You just don't want to keep, or after 24 hours, it will delete automatically. So just put something new, open, then send, right? Just click on send, and you created the story. If I refresh, you see the other one is gone, right? I have the new one, but I mean, these things is not, like there is much more better stories, right? This is something I'm just adding the image, nothing else, okay? But okay, guys, so that is all I have for this project, right? Yeah, there is a lot of things to learn. I mean, you can see, when you're building something like this, right, need lot of hard work, okay? But anyway, just try it, build something up to this point, right? This can help you even learn some UI, server actions, optimistic hooks and all that. So thank you very much, and I will upload this video, right, and also upload the code. Okay, I think I missed one thing, right? I mean, no, that is done. In the server action, basically add story, right? Yeah, we talked about that already. Not add story, but the where is that? Add story, yeah. So we talked about that, already we have talked, right? So that's good.